I spent my entire writing session today working on just one single paragraph. Um, yeah, that this was it was probably the most important paragraph in the entire story. So it's certainly not a wasted amount of time there. It was kind of the epiphantic moment in the story, sort of that moment where the narrator realizes some some great revelation that changes their personality, their character. That was the moment that I was writing out, and the paragraph. It was the way I had to write it was very very difficult, to say the least. I still did not. I don't think get it anywhere near close to what I want it to look like, but I just put something down. Um, it was not. It's by no means was it just a quick drafted thing. Like I said, I spent my entire session working on it, but it's certainly a paragraph that I'm probably gonna have to take out and reconstruct at some point. The gist of what I put down is good and strong, and the wording, if I'm to be a little bit more lenient to myself, is not bad by any means. But it was the big moment, the big thing that needed to be there, and I feel like that section just needs to be reworked completely at some point. Which again, all first drafts, no matter how detailed you are always terrible. Um, but we got something down, and at least the outline and shape of what I wanted looks strong, which is really what I was hoping for with this entire section there. Yeah, it's strange. It's strange to struggle over just a paragraph. It's to sweat just a paragraph is a very very annoying thing, and to say that out loud, it feels stupid, right? It's a single paragraph. It's all. Like, what does it matter? But it's the small paragraphs that will make up the larger section, which end up making up the entire story. Um, Writing is all in the details. Like any craft, it is the details, it's the small details. And the more you can master those small details, the better the work overall is going to look. Um, you can't you can't treat your work like a Monet painting. You can't treat it like something where from a distance it looks strong, but when you get up close and start to analyze it, it looks weak. That is how most stories are, most novels tend to be. But I think if you want to get towards that kind of upper echelon, towards I think, the top writers of certainly of a generation, it's the little things that's going to win it over. For a lot of people and for a lot of readers, yeah, just writing something that's okay on the small level, but from a distance looks really really good overall. That'll get you a book deal. That will get you an audience. That will get people to like your work. But if you want the staying power, if you want, I think that thing that will make your work be remembered, especially within like kind of more literary circles, it's the details, it's the small things, and for me, that's always the goal. Whether I get there or not, I don't know. Whether my work ever gets respected like that, I have no idea. But for me, it's about the pursuit of trying to make my work as strong as it can be, especially at the small level, because the big things are easy, right? The bigger picture for a novel is always pretty easy. It's when you get into the details that it gets difficult. Um, a lot of bad books, especially commercial ones, have been published that, yeah, on a big picture, they're entertaining reads and they're out there. Those do not take nearly as much time, as much effort as it takes to really focus and concentrate and try to make a sort of masterpiece of a work. Um, it's it's the old kind of adage about the time over the project, right? That if you want to get things out quickly, you're never going to have that mastery of your craft, or at least your works will never reflect that sort of mastery. As opposed to taking your time and getting something that maybe has a bit more staying power, something that reads a lot stronger. And again, I'm not saying that my work by any means is at that level, but to pursue that and to go in that direction, to try to make your work as strong as that could potentially become one day, it takes the attention to detail and it takes that slow sort of pace to get it done. Um, I spoke yesterday about my thoughts about self-publishing, how my opinion maybe has changed a bit on that. And one of the reasons why I never really considered that avenue before was simply because of my pace. I think if you self-publish, I do think you have to go at a bit of a faster pace than say traditionally published works in terms of getting your work out there. If you're looking to make, especially if you're looking to make money in this, in this industry, you have to produce a lot more works in a shorter window. Um, that was probably the reason why I was so often drawn to the more the traditional side of things, simply because of the time that it takes to get my work done. And obviously, again, you can, even with self-publishing, you can go at your own pace, right? There's no mandate saying you have to produce a lot of work quickly, but that does tend to be the general trend. And if you're trying to sort of build that brand, that's most likely what it's going to require. Um, always am I going back to that idea though of the slow progression, slowly getting there, slowly, and with it always trying to improve my craft, improve my prose each time I go to the keyboard, and that's what one paragraph is about. That's really what one paragraph is all about. It's about getting very little done, but being at least proud of what you're able to get done today, and be happy with the quality that you were able to produce during that time. Um, in terms of my, the internal checklist, yeah, the first thing that needs to be checked off is the writing every day. You need to show up every day. That's the most important thing. If you can do that, you've already checked the first tier, the first main tier off your checklist. You've done the bare minimum by just showing up. And then when you finally show up, then it's about putting the effort in and getting in a good session. And they don't always happen. They're never, you're never going to have a great session every single time. They don't always come, but always trying to do that, trying to push yourself as much as you can is what's important. And so hopefully this whole thing works out. Hopefully this paragraph gets revised eventually and looks good. But today was a struggle, and throughout this process, they're going to happen. It's just a matter of how well you can address them.